Let's sound the cannons, Badger fans. Erik Schmidt is a Badger. Let's talk about one of the best specialists in the country committing to Wisconsin over blue blood offers and why it's so important on Wisconsin. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's fire those cannons, Badger fans. Erik Schmidt is a Badger.
Fire the recruiting cannons. Another one is headed to Madison on Wisconsin.
Okay, Erik Schmidt commits to Wisconsin Badgers, a rare talent at kicker and punter, 6'1", 190-ish pounds out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Listen, this is a player with offers from Missouri, Notre Dame was really after him, Michigan, Boston College, among others. Blue blood level talent going after this kid. It's a huge get. It's a huge get for a couple reasons. Cole's kicking camps, which is essentially basically like the premier specialist camp for kickers and high school punters, is consistently ranked Erik Schmidt as a 5-star talent as a kicker and a punter. Number 1 punter in the country, according to Cole's. Number 8 kicker in the country. You're getting a dual threat guy who can do some of both. Just an elite talent. And when you see clips of him, the leg strength is evident. It's accurate. He's got a cannon, got a howitzer. Really, really good pickup. And again, a player that was very in demand. You don't just get, as a kicker punter, interest from Michigan, Notre Dame, Missouri, et cetera, et cetera. This was a big-time get for the Badgers. And it's a big-time get in a spot that, quite frankly, we talked about it. There's been issues there. There's been issues from punting and kicking, both of them. Keep the ball in bounds. Field goal range and distance has been an issue for the Badgers. Consistent punting and hang time has been an issue for the Badgers. This is from Cole's camp. This is something that they said about Schmidt. Quote, Schmidt has rare power and consistency for someone his age, a talent that should take him very far as he continues to train and develop over the coming year. This is a big get for the Badgers. He's a 5-star kicker, right? When you look at their rankings, one of the very best kickers and punters in the country. And think back to games that we've won with either kicks or we've lost because of kicks. Think back to games that we've lost because of punts, or go look at what Iowa has done with their punter, right? Go look at what elite specialists can do in a game. They flip games. And if you're in close games, having the better kicker and the better punter, it's like having another chess piece on the board. It's so valuable. And it's valuable from beyond just the standpoint of making the kicks, right? Obviously, that's a huge part of it. Thank you, Captain Obvious. But it also impacts your game calling, right? If it's 3rd and 4 and you're at the 30-yard line, the opponent's 30, if you have a really good kicker in your back pocket, you're okay, right? If you don't, then you just got to start thinking, all right, I got to pick up this first down, or maybe we're going to be in a weird 4th down situation, and then maybe I'm going to punt, but I don't really want to punt from here, but I don't want to go for it. If you just have a kicker that can bang 50-yarders, the decisions get a lot easier. They get a lot easier from all across the spectrum. If you have a punter that can consistently pin teams, suddenly your defense can pin their ears back a little bit more. Maybe you put them in their offense right in the shadow of your crowd section in Camp Randall. Like, specialists flip games all the time. And we haven't been good enough there. We have not been good enough on the special teams for years at Wisconsin. It's been an issue through Luke Fickell's short tenure, back into Paul Chryst' tenure. We haven't been explosive enough on returns. We haven't been good enough on punts, and we haven't been good enough in kicks. It's been an issue. How do you address an issue? You get better talent. You get dudes, right? This is a dude. Will he develop? We got to see. But you can't develop guys unless you get them. And this is an absolute dude. The other thing I complain about here, I'm not complaining about, because there's no complaining about this, but I always find it strange when you get a 5-star kicker or a 5-star punter, and they don't impact your recruiting rankings, right? Like, if you're one of the best kickers or punters in the country and you can very easily flip games, you should have a recruiting ranking commensurate with your talent within the position you play, right? You're not less valuable because you're a kicker. Like, you win or lose games based on kicking all the friggin' time. Special teams is insanely important. And if you get an elite kicker, that should also bump up your recruiting rankings. Is that a huge deal? No. Does it matter to anyone? I don't know. I just find it kind of odd that they don't, like, a 5-star kicker is somehow obviously not impacting your recruiting rankings. That is not a huge deal. The big deal is the Wisconsin Badgers have drastically, potentially upgraded their special teams unit by landing one of the best punters and kickers in the entire country, convincing them to stay home, go to Wisconsin over really a real big time offer list. So it's a big one for the Badgers. Another nice job for this recruiting staff on Wisconsin, and we will talk later.